Alright YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So a while ago we got news that we'll be having two more archetypes in Master Duel, and for that matter it is a complete set, so we're not gonna have them separated on waves, so good for us. The thing about here is we'll have the Vanquish Soul and the Novelist as part of one selection pack. Yet alone we'll also have the supports for the Cybers monsters, or typically Math Mech supports. So right off the bat, I'm not gonna tackle the two new archetypes here, but typically just one archetype, and then the next day we'll talk about the Novelist. I've been testing the deck out with the Vanquish Soul, or the new Vanquish Soul. It is kind of insane, but it takes a lot of brain power to actually use this deck. For me, it's a really good control deck for that matter, as long as you got the right cards on hand. So all the cards that we need in making a Vanquish Soul deck are typically here. That includes also the Sacred Soul and Xiaolong, which is typically a succeeding set after the first one when Vanquish Soul was introduced into the game. So that's insanely good for actually placing them in one selection pack. That way it's gonna be like easier for us to actually play this deck and not in a broken manner. So that's insanely good. Of course, I'm gonna be showcasing, or I'm gonna be telling you guys the core components in one Vanquish Soul deck. That way, if you want to create a Vanquish Soul deck, these are the core cards that you'll need. Also, I'll be showcasing a deck list that you can copy for Master Duel as well. So without further ado, let's go into YugiOh Omega and check the core deck list for Vanquish Soul. So here we are, guys, for the Vanquish Soul core cards. So it's not that much, it's just 20 cards, or typically 19 cards in total, depending on how you run the deck. But primarily, you need to max out the 3 copies of Bad Love, the 3 copies of Stake Your Soul, and the 3 copies of Ryzen, which is primarily your main source for searching out any Vanquish Soul monster. The Mad Love is searching out any spell cards that is Vanquish Soul, and the Heavy Border, you can go for 2 to 3 copies of this depending on your build. It's kind of okay because you'll just search this one with a copy of Ryzen if needed. So the typical gist with the whole Vanquish Soul archetype is they will have their effects to reveal a specific attribute from either Fire, Earth, or Dark. And they'll have their specific combos as well, like 1 Earth, 1 Fire, or 1 Fire and 1 Dark, just to have their effects. So effects ranging from destroying all monsters on this column, or destroying any spell or traps in this column, or popping 1 card, or adding 1 card, depending on the card that you basically need for the game. So right off the bat, we have here our boss monster, which is the Caesar Valius. So its effect states, you reveal 1 Earth, this face-up card is unaffected by your opponent's effect, but the really good effect here is revealing 1 Earth, 1 Fire, and 1 Dark to destroy 1 card in the field. So a really good pop. The Heavy Border is, once you summon to the field, you can draw 1 card by revealing 1 Dark. If you reveal an Earth and Fire, you inflict 1,500 damage to your opponent's life points. So the best part about the Vanquish Soul as well is you can use their effect during your opponent's turn as well. So if you summon Heavy Border, you can instantly draw 1 other card as well. So as long as you have a dark monster on hand. The next we have the 1 copy of Pluton HG. Typically you just need 1 copy of this because you can summon this during your opponent's turn. And for the attribute that you'll reveal, if you reveal 1 Fire, you can gain 3,000 defense for this monster. If you reveal a Dark and an Earth, you can gain 3,000 attack for this monster. For the next card, you have 2 copies of Xiaolong. You can go for 2 to 3 copies of this card. It's kind of good. But it is a level 5 though, so just practically go for 2 copies of this. You can search this one out with a copy of Stake Your Soul or a copy of Vanquish Soul Ryzen. The Xiaolong, once the card is revealed in the field, you can spell summon the Xiaolong to the field. You can reveal 2 or Fire monsters. You can add 1 Vanquish Soul card from your deck to your hand. If you reveal 1 Fire, change 1 battle position of 1 monster in the field. So a really good interruption during the battle phase as well. Then we have the Ryzen, which is your primary searcher. Once normal summon to the field, you can add 1 non-warrior Vanquish Soul monster from your deck to your hand. The 2 effects here is you reveal 1 Fire. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects during this turn. If you reveal a Fire and Dark, destroy all other monsters on this column. The next one we'll have the Pantera, which is almost identical as the Ryzen, but it's on spell and trap cards on this column. If you reveal an Earth and a Fire, if you just reveal an Earth, this card cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. You can special summon this card as well if you control no monster on the main zone. Just go with 1 copy of Pantera. This is typically your only Earth monster that you can search out, other than a copy of the Caesar Valius. So for our next card, you go for 3 copies of Mad Love. Mad Love has its effect. If you reveal 1 Dark Monster, 1 face-up monster your opponent controls loses 500 attack. 1 Dark and 1 Earth Monster reveal. You can return 1 monster with the lowest defense on the field to the hand. Now the best part about this is why this is on 3 copies is because you can search out as a Vanquish Soul spell and trap from your deck to your hand. Then we have the 3 copies of Stake Your Soul. Reveal 1 monster from your hand, spell summon any Vanquish Soul monster with the same attribute but different names. So if you have Soul Ryzen on your hand, you reveal the Ryzen and spell summon a copy of either a Xiao Long or a copy of Pluton HG. But majority of the time you go for Xiao Long. Then you have the one-offs for the last 2 cards, which is the Vanquish Soul Continue and the Vanquish Soul Dust Devil. Dust Devil is typically change face-up monsters your opponent controls face down depending on the number of Vanquish Soul monster you control with different names. Vanquish Soul Continue is pay 500 life points, target 1 Vanquish Soul monster from your graveyard, and either add it to your hand or spell summon it to the field in defense position. So that is your core for your main deck. Your extra deck is just basically your 3 copies of Rock of the Vanquisher, which is a really good Link monster, and it is a Link 1 monster only for the Vanquish Soul. So it has 2 effects. It can spell summon 1 Vanquish Soul monster from your hand. It is a quick play spell as well. It can be used during your opponent's turn, so that's insanely good. And the second effect is you can add 1 Vanquish Soul monster from your graveyard to your hand. So if you need more attributes to your hand that is in the graveyard, you can just add them to your hand. That is your core cards that you'll need for a Vanquish Soul deck. Let's go towards the deck list for Master Duel. Alright guys, so here we are with a deck list, and there are a couple of cards that I really want to take note for this deck as well. A really good tech card as well for the Vanquish Soul deck. So right off the bat, we are running the Kashtira engine, which is the 2 copies of Fenrir and the 2 copies of Rysart. The reason being is because Rysart is a Fire Monster and Fenrir is a Earth Monster. The thing about Rysart is it can be a level 7 that you can go into a rank 7, or it can be a level 4 that you can go with your other rank 4 monsters. Other tech card that you'll use here is typically a copy of Durandal. Durandal, once you equip this to a monster, you can search out a copy of either the Rysart or a copy of Ryzen, which is a fire and a warrior monster, which is insanely good. And you just remove this card from the field. So you just equip this to any card for that matter, and then you can have an easy access to Ryzen. We're running 2 copies of Divine Incarnate here. The Korikara is a really good addition to this archetype as well because it is a fire. Then we have the typical staples, which is the Ash Blossom and the Maxi, which are also Earth and Fire. Other than that, Cold by the Graves, Cross the Designator, and 2 Imperms for your interruptions with 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent. And then for your consistency engine, we'll have the Prosperity and a copy of Reinforcement of the Army. To search out a copy of Ryzen, or for your Prosperity, basically just banishing 6 cards from your extra deck. It's not really a problem because you'll be using only the Rock of Vanquisher as your primary Link monster. The rest is just basically some utility cards that you can use for the game. And that is the deck list for you guys for Master Duel. Let's test this deck out just to showcase how this deck actually works. Let's go. Alright guys, so here we are with the test run for the deck. We have 1 Fenrir, 1 Heavy Burger, 1 Imperm, 1 copy of Ryzen, and a copy of Durandal. So at this point, I want to showcase to you guys how Durandal works. So spell summon first the Fenrir to the field. Use the effect of the Durandal. Equip it with the Fenrir, and then we search out a copy of the Ryzen or a copy of Rysart for that matter. But for this case, just go for the Ryzen, remove the Durandal, then we can normal summon our Ryzen. Now, at this point on, we only have the Dark and a Fire monster on hand, so take note on that. We need an Earth monster, just depending on the cards that you'll actually need, of course. So we need also interruptions during our opponent's turn, so might as well gonna go search out a copy of, I can't search out a copy of, I'm gonna go for Mad Love. Mad Love here. I think that was a misplay on my part. But anyways, yeah, it takes a lot of brain power for this deck to actually work. But anyways, that's it. Spell summon 1 monster. We go for Heavy Burger since we already made a misplay. We go Heavy Burger. Since we have a Dark monster on our hand, we go for Heavy Burger, draw 1 card. And perfect, we just got a copy of Xiao Long. So since we reveal the monster on our hand, we use the effect of Xiao Long to spell summon itself to the field. So there we go, insanely good. The thing about this is We need another fire monster. Luckily, we have Fenrir to search out a copy of Rysart, which is a fire monster. So we reveal 2 fire monsters because of the effect of Zhao Long. Add a Vanquish monster from our deck to our hand. Typically, you can go with a copy of Caesar Vilus to pop 1 card, but we need an Earth monster as well, so take note of that. Since we already have the necessary cards here, and we have a ton of Vanquish monsters, might as well gonna go for an interruption, which is the Dust Devil. There we go. This is a quick play spell as well, and it is pretty good. So we go for that, set that one there, and spell summon the Fenrir to the field. Now you can go with Shangri-Ira here just to banish cards and go for a level 7, yada yada yada, but it's really up to you. For the sake of this build, just go with this type of lineup. There we go. You'll go for Space Typhoon, doesn't really matter. That's it. I'm gonna go for effects here. I'm gonna go for Heavy Burger to draw 1 card, revealing 1 dark monster. Do we have? Yeah, we have a fire in our graveyard, so we need to add 1 from our graveyard, and then so that we can use the effect of Zhao Long. So bounce back a copy, bounce back a copy, and use the effect of Zhao Long. Search out a card. We can go for. Let's see. I'm gonna go for that, Caesar Vilus. Gonna go for that. You know what? I'm gonna use the effect of Caesar Vilus. Bounce back a copy of either this. We'll summon the Vilus. Since we don't have an Earth monster, it was pretty bad on our part. Use the effect of. Goddamn, he's gonna use that effect. We're gonna go for the Dust Devil here. Let's see. Go for that. Change. Yes, that one there. Face down. Use the effect of Fenrir. Banish the back row. And see during his turn, we got a lot of cards because of it. So insanely good for this archetype. Very insane. With that, I think we just need to reveal the dark. Draw 1 more card. And we got Staker Soul, so insanely good as well. We spell summon Zhao Long to the field. We reveal again 2 fire monsters to get a hold of 1 earth monster, since that's the only thing that we're lacking actually. All we need is, we already got the fire, the dark, and the earth, so we can pop 1 card. So reveal these 3. Come on, there we go, and pop the card. So insanely good. That's basically it. So we have 2,500 3K. That's more than lethal, and we can go for game. Look at that. We got a ton of advantage on our part here because of the heavy burger that let us draw more cards, and also a ton of interruptions just because of the archetype itself. So tell me your thoughts on the new Vanquish deck. Yeah, I know it's not really that optimized because, but we'll tweak the deck once it's gonna be released into Master Duel. So far, the deck list is kind of promising, but yeah, hopefully by Thursday we'll get those cards. Anyways, that is it for today, guys. Keep safe, good luck. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Also, we'll tackle Novelist in the next video as well. So yeah, goodbye, guys. Have a good night.